So about a week ago, I covered this new leak that was kind of making the rounds in the Resident Evil community. I had a lot of people that were kind of believing it 100%, and we also had other people that were incredibly skeptical about it. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be looking at the facts, breaking it down logically as well, and looking at all of the suspicious things from this leak. But as you guys can tell by the title, the deeper we go, the more things start to crumble. So I'm super excited to hear what you guys think about this, and a huge shout out to everybody that watched this live. We had a bunch of people that were watching this live, so thank you. But in any case, let's get started with this dissection. Today we're going to be talking about the Portuguese leak. The Portuguese Resident Evil 9 leaks. Now, Resident Evil 9 leaks have actually been getting worse and worse. This is something that I called out literally last year. I called this out. I knew that this was going to happen. The closer we get to Resident Evil 9, we were going to get worse and more leaks, which has been the case. We've even gotten leaks for stuff that hasn't even been remotely hinted at, like RE Code Veronica, RE0 remake. Like, we keep getting those leaks, and it's like, guys, like, you guys forgot about RE9 and like, leakers, what's going on? Like, let's get our stuff together. Anyway, so it's interesting that this happened. Yeah, so this is basically the pre-order for the deluxe edition on PlayStation Portugal. Now, what's interesting about this is that, for starters, what the freak is this? So it essentially says the same thing that every pre-order says, and I found this incredibly suspicious when I first saw this. Now, we do have more confirmation that this is completely fake. We're gonna go over that, obviously. But for starters, the things that I found were very suspicious right from the get-go when I first saw this, like when it was live, when it first went like on the internet, on Reddit, was that why did only one person notice this in Resident? Like, this is weird. Out of everybody, all the Resident Evil fans in Portugal, only one guy saw this and decided to take a picture. That's really sus. Okay, for starters, the Resident Evil community is pretty goated, for one thing. I will say, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but one thing's for sure, the RE community is not dumb. Okay, it's a not dumb. So I'm like if there was like a bunch of Resident Evil fans in Portugal said like, I saw it, yeah, we all saw it, you know what I mean, then it would be like, okay, well, not, you know what I mean, there's more legitimacy to that. But the fact that we didn't get that at all, it's super suspicious. Now, the next thing that I also thought was like, yo, what is this? Is Agente Especial da DSO. So DSO, Special Agent outfit. By the way, I don't speak Portuguese. I can understand Portuguese, so I can read this, but I don't speak it. All right, just FYI, I speak Spanish, but Spanish, if you guys don't know, shares like 89% of like the same words. So there's like 10 or whatever, 20% where if you talk to a Portuguese person, where you might be like, what? I don't know what you said, bro. But the rest is like kind of, you know, it's, especially if it's written form, we can understand. So I was like, what the hell is a Special Agent DSO? You know what I mean? Special Agent DSO like outfit. Are they talking about like the Death Island outfit? Like, I don't even know, right? Because, you know, the first thing that kind of went through my mind was like the Damnation outfit, because Leon's been working for the DSO for the longest time, and calling it the Special Agent DSO outfit is kind of weird. Not to mention, the other thing that I found very strange about this is that it says that there's going to be 5 outfits, right? This is what the normal page says. It says there's going to be 5 outfits included with the deluxe edition. So it's like, well, okay, if there's 5 outfits, you know how Resident Evil 4 Remake had like the outfits, like it had hero and villain, it had like other outfits, like there's a bunch of outfits for Leon and Ashley. And so I would imagine if Leon was another, like he plays as like Chris in the game, because he's definitely not a second protagonist. I know a lot of people like to assume that, even though the director literally said that that's not the case. They also said with that previous video that they don't want to do any fan service, so they're not going to be doing that. So it's likely that we're not even going to get like the characters that we want to get showing up in RE9. Now, I don't know, that's just based off of that one thing that the producer and the director recently said at the Tokyo Game Show. But anyways, that's a separate, you go watch my other video if you guys want to know my full thoughts on that. But going back to what I was saying, 5 outfits, like what is this? Like, if Leon was in the game and this was an actual leak, what does that mean? That means that we're having only 2 outfits for Grace and 3 outfits for Leon, or 1 outfit for Leon and then 3 outfits for, like, what does that mean? Or it would be like 5 outfits or 10 outfits, you know what I mean? That would make a little more sense. 5 outfits just doesn't make sense unless it was the same exact thing, kind of like as I was saying with the Resident Evil 4 remake and how all of that, you know what I mean, like there was a theme for each of the outfits that's for the outfits for RE4 remake. So I don't know. I like this right there. Just like listening to this was super sus. I was like, nah, dude, like this is incredibly sus.
Welcome.
Now, this is just me saying, by the way, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Orum77, for subscribing. Really appreciate it, man. So this is just like out of the get-go, this is what was going through my mind. I was like, this is sus. This doesn't make sense. Also, let's be honest here. Do you think if Leon was in the game, why would they make Grace the statue for the deluxe edition? Like why? Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I could say the same thing for Resident Evil 8. Chris showed up in that game and we had a playable section. We didn't even know he was going to have a playable section, but he had a playable section. But when the collector's edition got announced, it was literally Chris for the collector's edition. Because, you know, Ethan, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure nobody would have wanted a no-face freaking statue. I'm sorry. Like, I know, if you guys know me, you guys know that that's one of my nitpicks for RE7 is that, or RE8 and RE7, is that we never see Ethan's face. Like, I would have liked the character more if we had seen his face. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. Going back to what I was saying is that Capcom specifically didn't do that. So they obviously went with the cooler character, the character that everybody knows, an OG character. So that's another argument where I was like, what the like if Leon's in the game, why wouldn't they just release a Leon, like older, whatever, like, you know, the same statue? It would have sold like crazy. It would have sold like crazy. Even I would have been like, maybe I should buy the collector's edition. All right, maybe I should do it because it's gonna have Leon. I don't even know Grace. All right, like, I like Grace so far, everything that we've seen from Grace, but I mean, like, I'm not buying a collector's edition for just Grace, like, in a teared up outfit, and she's like, look, like, I'm sorry, I don't really care. So that was what was going through logically. Now, what was interesting is that Dusk actually, as soon as he saw this, he got super excited. Now, as mentioned, I don't hate Dusk, but he got super excited. And what was interesting was, and so I'm actually glad Dusk commented on this, because the other thing that was also going through my mind was that I figured that maybe Dusk was the one that wrote this and like had somebody write this. I don't know. I just had that thought. Obviously, I'm glad he wrote it because that kind of just throws that theory out of the window. But he basically said, some people messaged me about a suspicion of the legitimacy factor of Resident Evil Requiem PlayStation 5 Deluxe costume mention link, so I'll add the concept. Leon is in RE9 as a main playable character alongside Grace. It's a waiting game for me. So right now he's doing that revisionist history, because if you guys are well aware, Dusk in the past did not say that he was going to be a main playable character along Grace. That's not what he said before. He said Leon is the main character, not the main, you know what I mean? Yeah, well, he's actually saying the main player alongside. He never said alongside anybody before. So that just goes to show that he didn't really know. His information is not good. And it also kind of shows, we'll see his second kind of reply, because this is part two tweets, but he does kind of allude to the fact that he really doesn't know. He's almost like he's betting on this being true. He doesn't 100% know, and this we can ascertain this because even in the past, Dusk has said, "Hey, I'm kind of a bad leaker." He said this himself, by the way, and I will show this in the video, so stay tuned for that. If you guys are watching the video, you guys will see that. But yeah, he has stated that, where I'm not a good leaker. I'm only as good as my sources, and my sources suck because of the data breach that happened in 2020. Anyways, what was interesting too is that when the leak went live on Reddit, there was also people here, because I was trying to find. I was like, where did this leak come from? Like, where did it come from? It said it got deleted, and I'm assuming it got reposted. I don't really use Reddit, so correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really know the whole thing, but I tried to find the original like post, and I couldn't. That's why some people were saying, what happened to the OP's account, Lamau? You know what I mean? And then my man got assassinated. Yeah, that didn't happen. The guy who leaked it deleted his own account, and then the person who pointed out they deleted the account also deleted their own account, Lamau, probably the same person owning both accounts, trying to do a really good troll job. All the people who were there when the Portugal pre-order showed up didn't see Leon mentioned. Yeah, that's one of the points. That's one of the things that I actually thought of. I copy the text from the sub, but I think this argument is very solid at the moment. I don't know. The fact that no one else in Portugal can confirm having seen this slip up. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like I said, the RE community is pretty smart. Okay. I know I'm biased here because I'm part of the RE community. So it sounds funny me saying it. But look, they're saying the same thing that I basically said. And by the way, I haven't seen this whole Reddit thread, but I wanted to look at more. I think this was the guy. I'm trying to see which one was the guy that I saw. I think it was a different thread. I think it was a different thread, but it was about the same thing. But it was a guy basically talking about how a Brazilian YouTuber, we're gonna get to that. But she actually did something funny, And so we're going to look at it just in 1 second. But anyways, going back to this, yeah, the fact that no one else could confirm that having this slip up from Sony is pretty darn weird. What makes it even more suspicious that the leak come from Dusk Golem? No, this leak doesn't come from Dusk Golem. So this guy got it wrong here. But hey, maybe one Portuguese fan wanted to pre-order the game. Dusk was the only wizard on the Sony Portugal site. Man, you guys sure got a hate boner for Dusk. Okay, so let's just break this up. Okay, for starters, this happens a lot with Dusk. And as mentioned, I don't hate Dusk. I just report the facts here. Dusk did not say this. Now, I did have a suspicion that maybe he did say, but as mentioned, we're going to look at the second tweet that he posted kind of talking about this. And like I said, those theories go out the window. So it clearly doesn't look like it's him. But obviously, this was not from Dusk. Dusk promoted it really fast because he thought it was like, oh my gosh, we got it. We got it, guys. This is it. I knew it. But it's like, and then, you know, his whole attitude changes in the second part of the tweet. But this argument, I've seen a lot. I've had a lot of people on my freaking comments, on my chat say this, stuff like this. Man, you guys got a hate boner for Dusk. Guys, dude, this is such a bad freaking counter argument. Oh, you just hate him. When did he say here that he hates him? Did he say that? When it makes more suspicious, like Leonov says, Leo has been spreading falsehood for many times. Yeah, he's just, my man's just stating facts here. I mean, well, partially, like I said, it's not, he didn't say this, that, you know, this did not come from Dusk, but Dusk has said, he's been getting stuff incredibly wrong since 2012. Literally 2012. My guy Dusk doesn't even remember what he said just a couple of months ago. All right, we actually covered that in January, where he said 2 years ago that Jill was going to be the main character of RE9, and then it just slipped his mind. He had no idea. He's like, oh, and people were calling him out. Literally, people were calling him out, and then he's like, no, we'll see in the concept art that that's exactly what was happening. Even though we just need to be specific here with the facts. It seems like there's more evidence that suggests that Jill was never you know what I mean, thought up to be in the game. If anything, it was Leon, because that's exactly what we heard from the RE9 director. He said that at first they wanted to do Leon, right? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you know, we covered that on the channel in the Creator Insight on the Resident Evil Portal thing, right? He said that, well, we were thinking of using Leon, but then he's like, he doesn't get scared of anything. So that's why they wanted to go with a new character who gets scared, which is interesting. I like that, right? Like I said, I don't know Claire. I mean, sorry. I don't know Grace, not Claire. I don't know Grace's character because obviously this is the first time we're going to be seeing her in any Resident Evil media. But it's interesting, right? It's an interesting thing, right? What we've seen from the demo gameplay and stuff. But this is a horrible argument. Oh, you just hate him. No, literally no, bro. I have, like, even for me, man, I don't even hate Dusk. It's just like, I'm just going to state the facts that this guy's just gotten stuff wrong. Like, that's not wrong to say either. Yeah, anyways, let's catch up with some chats, boys. Vivek Full says on Steam, it also suggesting more, though. It says this only changes Grace's outfit. Oh, interesting. Thank you for pointing that out. Interesting. Thank you for that. Unclassified reactor. But it is true that RE9 is kind of meant to be like RE Revelations when we get to see both sides of the story, Grace and Leon. Not necessarily, no. You mentioning that on Class Redacted, it's not, because we do know that RE9's director did do Revelations, but you also remember he also directed Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was nothing like Revelations. If anything, it seems to me like the RE9 director, from everything that he stated at these game awards or game, you know what I mean, events, he did state that it's almost going to be similar to RE2 Remake or RE7, right? Because it's going to be like RE2 Remake or more horror. So that seems to be the place that they, of course I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to bring up that because there's so much like stuff that they talked about at those events, but you guys have heard that, right? He did say that it was going to be like RE2 Remake. That's what they were kind of going for. He never said it was going to be like Revelations. And obviously that is a spin-off game. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the content and you guys want me to make more of this, then let me know by leaving a like and also sharing the video. Just in case you guys didn't know, I am a very small content creator. And of course, having more subscribers does help me book more interviews like the ones you guys have seen on the channel where I speak to very famous voice actors. It would also help me get more collabs with bigger content creators so we can all hang out while I'm streaming a discussion with them. And it also gets me more invitations to special events, so I'm able to cover more stuff for you guys. But anyways, let's get back to the video, and thank you to everyone that's supporting the channel. So I was actually showing you guys the second post, which is this. This is when his friends were some people or whatever were telling him like, hey, seems to be very suspicious. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't trust this. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know Capcom's marketing plans. I'm gonna go go hang out with my friends. I'm out of town. And it's like he just gave up. Which I thought was funny because this original one, and this is the damage here. I want to make this very clear. This got 1.5 freaking views where he said Sony just accidentally leaked Leon and Resident Evil. It's an unofficial PlayStation pre-order. It accidentally lists the yeah. So and then after. Right, he posted, oh no, this was right. Only got 158,000 views, right? This is the thing, right? I mean, Twitter pays people stuff, but the problem is that how many fans don't know that this is fake, right? I mean, obviously, I did hear in my comment section that there's another YouTuber that talked about this leak and said that it was fake. That's awesome because there's not a lot of YouTubers that talk about this. And that kind of segue into the next part where there was actually a Brazilian YouTuber by the name of Moni. I'm pretty sure it's Moni Database on YouTube. But she basically said here, folks, be careful with these leaks from Reddit. It's very easy to edit an intranet page to make it look like it was a screenshot and then the company fixed it. I do believe that Leon will be in Requiem, but it's a lot of malice what the crowd is doing, inventing Leon leaks in Requiem all the time. This is playing with the fans' expectations, made the character be announced at the right time. So it's interesting that Moni actually believes that that Leon is going to be in Resident Evil 9, even though there's like literally no official confirmation. So I have noticed a lot of people are falling for this leak, right? I mean, if you combine all of the leaks, look at all of this, it's completely fake. But it's interesting. What she basically did was she went on the Steam page and just yeah, there you go.
Achei, galera, achei.
So she basically switched it to, she basically switched. So it says right here, Traje de Grace Apocalypse, and then she said, and an outfit for Leon as Neymar.
E traje do Leon, Neymar, ficou Neymar.
And then on the left here, you can actually see how one can mess with that, right? By just opening it up, the dev tool and stuff. So it's just funny. She basically said that. She basically said, you know what I mean? Don't trust these kinds of leaks. It's also interesting too that it's also, I will say, I find it very interesting as well that on the PlayStation site, there was a small space for when to add this. But as mentioned with all of the other points that I was stating, it doesn't make sense that there's only going to be 5 outfits. And if Leon was the second playable character, what is Leon also going to have the Dimitrescu outfit? So that means that he only has 1 outfit if he is. That's weird. Also, if we look at, well, Resident Evil 8's not the best example because Resident Evil 8 there wasn't any outfits because you can't look at the character. There was an outfit for Rose, but I was gonna say like we didn't have outfits for Chris or anything. But again, the game was only in first person, so it's a little bit different. But with RE4 Remake, you know what I mean? There should be themes, right? Or things that, you know, both characters can have a specific style of outfit. Not the same exact outfit, but a style, right? For example, one thing that would be cool is if Leon was hypothetically in the game, he would have the Heisenberg outfit or something like that. You know what I mean? And then Grace has there would be a theme there. But that's not the case. We only know that there's 5 outfits. So that means that there's not that many outfits to go around. Therefore, kind of explaining that having Leon in the game just isn't logically sound. But shout out to Moni for doing that. That's good. I mean, it's a simple way of just making it seem that it's very easy to change stuff up. It's also super suspicious that the guy who posted it allegedly deleted it and then just, you know what I mean, somebody else posted it. I'm assuming. I don't know how Reddit works too much, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It's also worth noting too, and I stated this in my previous leak debunking video, but leaks love to piggyback. This was happening with RE4 Remake. They were piggybacking on an actual data breach. They were piggybacking and making their own assumptions. So that's happened several times. This is quite common in the Resident Evil leak, I guess, side of the community. This is not good, guys. So I would not trust this. As mentioned, logically, there's issues. It's worth noting too, because I also saw like some conversation that was happening in my previous video where people were saying that like, oh, well, if you don't want Leon in RE9, then that means you hate Leon. I freaking love Leon, bro. I literally interviewed, and I traveled like 3 hours to go and interview Nick Apostolides a couple months ago. So your boy loves Leon, all right? Like, so that argument doesn't really work. I don't know why people say that. It's just more copium. But yeah, don't believe these leaks, boys. It's not good. Wait until Capcom says something. And right now, it seems like Capcom isn't saying anything. So this idea doesn't look like it's going to happen. It just doesn't. It doesn't. By the way, if you guys enjoyed this Resident Evil leak discussion, click this one right here, since last week we also had another leak that was making the rounds. But in any case, thank you so much for watching.